Hi everyone. Today let us discuss about Vastu and try to understand the inner meaning of Vastu so that whatever the worry or fear we have regarding Vastu will go away. In Namakam is part of Samhita from Vedas, where Namakam is chanted in a lot of Lord Shiva temples whenever they do Abhisheka to Lord Shiva. In Namakam, in 7th Anuvaka, like 7th verse, there is something it says, Namo Vastavyaya cha Vastupaya cha. So let us take this as a basis and try to understand the inner meaning of Vastu. So the first one is Namo Vastavyaya cha. So before that, we'll have to understand what Namakam is. At very high level, Namakam explains about the qualities of God or the higher power. Essentially, it explains how God is omnipotent and how God is omniscient and how God is omnipresent and how God is the inner controller. Like if we look at the Sanskrit words, those are like Sarva Shaktimatvam, Sarvajñatvam, Sarvatmakatvam, Sarva Vyapakatvam, Sarvantaryamitvam. So essentially these are all the qualities, and Namakam essentially talks about how God is everywhere, God is inside us, God is around us in everything. So the first one is Namo Vastavyaya cha. The meaning of this is salutations to Ishvara, who is inside all the dwellings. Now if we look at the dwellings, a lot of people, they live in their houses, or some people live in apartments, some people may live in a small house, some people may live in a hut, or some people may live in a huge mansion. So if you look at any dwelling, right, it could be a hut, it could be a mansion, all the way to a mansion. All these dwellings need some materials. Okay, the materials can be sand, water, wood, iron, and lot other materials. So, and once somebody builds a dwelling, whatever the items they need within the house, that also require some kind of material coming out of the earth. It could be iron, it could be some other material, or it could be leather that is coming out of animals. So essentially everything is coming out of the nature. It could be earth, or it could be animals, or it could be trees, it could be something like that. So here what we are doing is we are giving our salutations to Lord and saying that, hey, you are inside all these dwellings. It could be a hut, it could be a mansion, it could be anything. You gave everything in the form of sand or water or wood or iron or any material. So it is all given by the Lord Himself. That is why we are giving salutations. So that is the first one. The second one is Namo Vastupaya cha. So this is where we need to understand what Vastu is. So there are different levels that we can get into. So let us start from the first one. The first one is Namo Vastupaya cha, means salutations to Vastu Purusha. The Lord Himself is the Vastu Purusha. So who is Vastu Purusha? Vastu Purusha is the controller of all these dwellings. So in the first one we said, hey, you are within these dwellings, and now we are saying you are the controller of these dwellings. What does it mean? So let us try to understand that. When we say controller of all these dwellings, essentially he is kind of protecting whoever is living in those dwellings, irrespective of how the dwelling is built. It could be a hut, it could be a mansion. It could be facing north, it could be facing south or west or east, it doesn't matter. God takes care of the living beings living within those dwellings. Good example is every day when we wake up in the 16 hours of our awakened state, we call it as Jagruta Avastha, we literally see God in front of us, but we will not realize that God is nothing but Sun. Sun is the God that is in front of us, and Sun will give the light, Sun will give the temperature, the heat to everyone equally. Sun will never show any discrimination or any partiality to someone whose house is built in one direction. Hey, let me give some pleasant temperature of 60 degrees Fahrenheit or 65 degrees Fahrenheit because the house is built in the right direction. And Sun will not give a temperature of 120 degrees Fahrenheit because the other house is built in a different direction. No, Sun will never do that. Sun will give the temperature to everyone equally. It's the same with rain god, the Varuna, we call it in Sanatana Dharma. The droplets will be equal on every house, irrespective of what the direction of the house is. And if you look at Namakam, or if you look at Vishnu Sahasranama Namam, or if you look at Lalita Sahasranama, in all these, they say Ishvara is the leader or Adhipati of all directions. For all directions. Anni Dikkulaku Adhipati, they say. So, Ishvara, this Vasthu Purusha, is not some ruthless person who will sit and punish people who is not following Vastu or who is building houses in whatever the direction they want. And he is not a person who keeps giving boons and provides happiness and everything to people who are following Vastu and building houses as per the direction people keep saying. No. Ishvara is not a ruthless person. Ishvara is not a sadist who will do that. And why did that happen? So if you look what our ancestors came up with certain rules, they whatever our ancestors suggested or prescribed, there is always a logical reason behind it. In olden days, when our ancestors suggested that, hey, you face towards east and do some puja or japa or meditation or whatever a person wants to do, essentially that means that in the morning, sun rises from the east. So why can't you just face east and do whatever you are doing? It could be some puja, it could be meditation, it could be japa. As if you are just facing the God. Sun is a God that we see every day. Just face that God and do. And now this person, if he sits in the middle of the house and does whatever he is doing, it's going to disturb others and others cannot do their chores. So they suggested, hey, why don't you sit in one corner? And since that person is doing his meditation or puja in one corner, the other family members are doing some other chores, like it could be some work in kitchen, it could be some work in storage room, storing grains and all that. They can do in a different corners of the house. That is how logically they divided and they suggested this is how it can be done. And over a period of time, people did that, and over a period of time they misinterpreted that and they started misusing that. And because of that, today people fall into the trap that when they buy the house, if it is facing this side, it is good, and because of that they pay a premium price. And if the south is facing in a different direction, it is not good, and some people will not buy the house. So that is the first level of meaning. Now if we go into the second level of meaning is, who is this Vastu Purusha? This Vastu Purusha is nothing but Ishvara inside us. Earlier we discussed the qualities of Ishvara, that Ishvara is the inner controller, Sarvantaryami. He is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. He is the ruler, he is the leader, he is the highest source, highest power. So he is everywhere, he is inside us, he is around us. Now when he is inside us, all we are saying is, we are giving our salutations to Lord, telling that, hey, you have you are inside all the dwellings, and you are the inner controller of all these dwellings. You protect us, and not only that, you are inside us. And please make sure there is no dosha in our mind. Actual vastu dosha is not in a dwelling. Actual vastu dosha is in the mind. Mind is a culprit. Whatever we do, good or bad, it is based on what our mind thinks, whatever our mind wants to do. So that is the different next level of meaning. The other meaning of Vastu is, Vastu means Vasa Yoga Bhumi. That means the place where people can live. So if we see on earth, there are several places where people cannot live because it could be very high temperature, it could be the soil is bad, it could be there is no water, there are no resources, natural resources. So we are able to live in a place where the soil is good. Because the soil is good, people are able to build houses, people are able to put foundation and build multi-story buildings, and there is ample amount of water. If people are able to dig and get water, extract water, there is ample amount of water, and there are a lot of natural resources. They can extract a lot of minerals, and there is a lot of greenery. There are trees, plants, and people can do farming. That is Vasa Yoga Bhumi. So essentially we are giving salutations, our gratitude to Ishvara, saying that, hey, you have provided us this Vasa Yoga Bhumi. That is the next level of meaning. Now let us go to another level of meaning and try to understand what exactly Vastu is. Vastu is, like we discussed, Ishvara is inside all the dwellings. He is the inner controller of all the dwellings, and actual Vastu for a dwelling is if the owner of the dwelling, whoever resides in the dwelling, is doing all 5 yajnas diligently. We discussed about these 5 yajnas in our earlier video. The first yajna is Devata yajna. So Devata yajna is some kind of showing some kind of gratitude to God in the form of puja. Again, puja means it's not an elaborate 2-hour puja with lot of rituals and all that. Just showing the gratitude to God, saying that you have provided this Vasa Yoga Bhumi, the place where we are able to live. And not only that, for the puja is not just for those 15-20 minutes, it is ensuring and promising Ishvara, telling Ishvara that for the next 16 to 18 hours of this awakened state or Jagruta Avastha, I am going to abide by the rules prescribed by you. I am going to follow the dharma. I am going to follow the shastra. I am going to live as per the dharma and the rules prescribed by you. That is, if a person does that, that is the actual dwelling with the right Vastu. But a lot of people do not try to understand the real inner meaning of Vastu, and they just follow because of peer pressure. Because a lot of people follow it, they end up following it, and they are forced to follow that. And also, whenever somebody goes to a priest or some Vastu expert, they will always tell whatever makes us happy. They will tell whatever we want to hear. If we go to someone, and if that person, it could be a priest or a Vastu expert, if he says that you can buy a dwelling that is in any direction, it doesn't matter, don't worry, go ahead and buy, then immediately people will start blaming the priest or the Vastu expert, saying that he does not know anything. That is why they will continue to tell what makes us happy, what we want to hear. And if we take another scenario, right, if let us say there is a person, very rich person, and he's surrounded by hundreds of Vastu experts, and these are utmost renowned Vastu experts. Let us say all of them together designed a dwelling for this rich person, and that dwelling is as per 1000% Vastu. Now, can we guarantee that this person, whoever is living in the dwelling, will he or she not have any marital problems, will not have family problems, will not have health problems, professional problems, business problems? Is there any guarantee? Nobody can give such guarantee. And also, even if some person follows 1000% of Vastu with all these renowned experts and builds some dwelling, the intrinsic behavior of any person will not change. In Sanskrit, it is called as manah pravrutti. See, this person may have fascination towards money, it could be fascination towards women, or gambling, or drinking, or drugs, or it could be anything. So, that intrinsic behavior will not change, and because of that, this person may end up doing some mistake. And that mistake will create a lot of adversities. So it doesn't matter whether the dwelling is built with the right vastu or not, the intrinsic behavior will not change. And also, a lot of people need to understand that they follow 100% vastu, they talk about vastu, but they do not go and check their own personal life. They may run into issues, they may run into relationship problems with their own spouse or their own siblings, with their own friends. They may have health problems, they may have professional problems, they may have a lot of problems. They are still getting these problems even though they assume that they are following 100% Vastu. And why is that happening? That they need to do an introspection. But unfortunately, a lot of people, when they visit somebody's house, first thing they comment about that house and why that house is in that direction. And also, unfortunately, what these people do, whenever somebody is going through some adversity, it could be health problem, it could be some marital problem, it could be some professional problem, financial problem, immediately they'll comment about their house, saying that they bought this house, they have been living in this house because the house is in that direction, they are going through that. It's very unfortunate. A lot of people do that. These people, they need to do an introspection of themselves. They are also going through the same. So the underlying fact is there is something called prarabdha karma. We discussed in our earlier videos. This prarabdha karma in this janma is activated. It is like a arrow that is released, and the direction of this arrow cannot be changed. Everybody has to go through prarabdha karma. A good example is in Tampa, there is a renowned priest. He's whatever puja he does it diligently and thoroughly. Everybody likes him. And this priest, he lives in his own house that is facing in south direction. And there is another Tampa's richest Indian. He lives in a house that is facing in the south direction. And a lot of people presume that anything that is facing in south or west or north or east, this is good, this is bad. They are under that presumption. But these people, they have been living happily, and the reason they are doing that is, it's not that they are not aware of Vastu, they are not ignorant. They are more knowledgeable than any of us. The reason is they believe in Lord and Lord Ishvara, and they believe in prarabdha karma. So they know whatever is going to happen, that will happen. This whole prarabdha karma is already written, scripted, and that will be orchestrated. No matter what we do, it will not be changed. That they know that fact. That is why they live happily, even though other people may think that they are living in a dwelling that is in the wrong direction. Also, there used to be one poet called Annamaya. So he was one of the renowned poet from 14th century in South India, and he composed several sankirtanas, or devotional hymns we can call. And most of his hymns were used in the Carnatic music as well. And in one of his devotional hymns, it says, in Telugu I'll say, Telisite mokshamu teliyakunna bandhamu. The English translation is, Telisite mokshamu means, if you have knowledge, you are instantly liberated. Teliyakunna mokshamu, if you are ignorant, you will be tied by that bondage. So here that means These people, like I gave a couple of examples, priest and richest Indian, these are knowledgeable. They know, they know that the prarabdha karma will happen, irrespective of whatever the dwelling they reside in. So they are accepting all adversities and all happy moments, because that is part of the life, that is part of the prarabdha karma, and they live happily. They are instantly liberated. Again, liberated means it is not that they are going to some place called Vaikuntha or Kailasha or somewhere. They do instantly liberated means they will not have any worry or fear. Now, if people are ignorant, if they do not understand the concept of prarabdha karma, and they blindly follow these faiths in terms of, like, if you have the dwelling in one direction, somebody is going to punish you. If you have the dwelling in a different direction, you will get boon. If they believe in that type of faith, they will always have fear and worry, because they are ignorant. So that is the real Vastu. Everybody needs to understand the inner meaning of Vastu, and once the prarabdha karma is understood, and if we understand the inner meaning of Vastu, there will not be any fear or worry, because we will have to embrace whatever the adversity or whatever the happy moments that comes in our lives. We will have to accept it. If we do that, then we will not have fear and worry. That is the inner meaning of Vastu. Thank you.